In this video, we're going to unbox and go through the features of a Lucky Duck Super Revolt. When you open the box, you're going to see a handful of things. First thing, obviously, is your remote. You're going to have the lithium-ion battery pack that comes standard with this call, your decoy, your tripod mount, the calling unit, your wall charger, and the antenna. So let's start first with the unit itself. First thing I want to do is screw on the antenna into the port. Second thing I'm going to do, as you see, the Super Revolt comes standard with a taller tripod. It's just your standard 1/4-20 thread. We're going to screw it into the base. I like to put some Loctite or even some super glue on there so that when I screw that on, it doesn't come undone. Now, this base will have a little groove that will match up on the underside, and this allows the call to rotate, which we'll show in just a second. Then at this point, you have your decoy. We just removed the rubber cover on top. It has the little notch that lines up, and it is magnetized, so it will lock into place. A few other things on this e-call on the side or on the back. You'll have your on-off switch. All right, well, actually, let's put in the lithium-ion battery pack first. It comes standard with this call. Simply hook the connector in, drop the pack in the slot, put the cover back on, and now you're ready to go. On the back side of this call, you'll also see a little cover here that you can remove. That gives you your SD card. That comes standard in every call. This call comes standard with 200 sounds. Then you'll see, like I said, your auxiliary port, your charging port, which this call comes standard with, your wall charger. Therefore, when you're done hunting for the day, all you have to do is plug that right into there, plug that in your wall, and you're good to go. You don't have to take the battery pack in and out all the time. And then the last port on there is your external speaker port, in case you're wanting to add an extra speaker onto this call. Next, let's take a look at the remote. Back before I talk about the remote, I want to talk about one more feature of the call. This call does come standard with kind of a rubber coating around the call. You'll see it's wrapped around there. This just adds protection to your e-call in case you drop it, it gets banged around. It's just going to obviously help things out, help the longevity of your e-call. Second piece of this is the remote. It also comes standard with a rubber coating around it. It's going to obviously increase the durability, but these remotes run off 3 AA's. So we're just going to pop the back cover off, insert the batteries. Cover back on, and now we can turn it on. I'm just going to hold the power button in, the screen lights up. As you can see, buttons are backlit, so you can see it at night. If you look at the home screen, obviously we have all of our categories of sounds, sound folders that we can scroll down through. Up at the top, we have our overall stand timer from the time we turn this remote on to the time we turn it off. That's going to run the entire time. Shows you what our volume level is. It shows you the battery level in your remote. Shows that we have an auxiliary button that's not in use right now. S1 means that this is sound 1 playing. One of the capabilities of this e-call is the ability to play 2 sounds at once, which I'll show you here shortly. SD is just going to say, yeah, you have a good connection with the SD card in the back of the e-call. That is your signal strength between the e-call and the remote. Then obviously the speaker with 1 and speaker with 2 shows you which sounds are playing, whether it's sound 1 or sound 2 or both, which I'll show you here shortly. On the side of the remote, several multi-purpose buttons here. You have your day, dawn, and dusk, and night mode. So what that really means is, right now we're in day mode. If I wanted to switch it to night mode, I'm simply going to hold in the N, and you'll see it switch to night mode. Now, one of the features of this call is I can actually adjust the brightness level. So what I'm going to do is hold in the B until the brightness comes up. Then I'm going to scroll down with the volume, and I can actually dim this way down if I'd like. I can dim it right back up. Same with day mode. If I hold in the D button, it's going to go back to the day mode. Once again, if I want to dim this down a little bit, I can hold in the B, which is brightness, and I can volume it up and down to get it to where I want. Now, these buttons also serve as the rotation buttons as well, as you'll see here. So if I want to scan the call to the right, I'll push the top button, and the call will continue to scan and spin in that direction until I push that button again, and it'll tell you that it stopped. If I want to scan the call back the opposite direction, I'm going to drop to the bottom scan button, and it'll scan it back to the left. And then obviously that call is going to keep spinning until I push the button again, and it says scan off. Now the middle button is your auto scan. Just one push of that button, the call will do 180 degrees of rotation and come back to where it started. Now on the right side of the remote, you have your presets. Comes with 3, pretty simple to set. All you're going to do is decide on what sound you want as preset 1. Let's say we want a rodent sound. Let's just say lip squeaks. I'm going to select the sound. I'm going to go to the volume I want. Let's say I want it at 16. I'm going to run that up till the volume says 16. Now I'm going to actually select the sound and deselect it real quick, and now I'm just going to simply hold in the preset button until that sound flashes. Now it's set. Now we want to set preset number 2. I'm going to go back to the home screen. I'm going to go to let's say the pup distress folder. I'm going to go to Schoolyard Brawl. I want to put it at volume 20. I'm going to select it real quick, deselect it. Then I'm simply going to hold in the preset button until it flashes, and it is set. You'll also see the G button on the side. That's your gain setting. This has 4 levels of gain. When you turn the call on and play, it automatically goes to level 3, but there may be some instances where you want to up the volume. Essentially, all that gain button is going to do is add power to the amp, which is going to add a little bit of static, not so much to the sound, not enough that you're probably going to notice, but obviously when you're using gain 4, you're wanting more volume, not so much sound clarity. So that's an option for you if you want to use that gain button. Then on the front of the remote, obviously you have your power button, your back button, and your brightness button, your volume controls, your selector switches up and down to go up and down the screen, your play pause button. So down at the bottom of the call, you're going to have your decoy, which just by pushing the button is going to be decoy speed number 1. Push it again, it'll go to decoy speed 2. In order to shut it off, you got to go all the way through 3 or 4 pushes, and it'll say decoy stop. Now the S button, that's going to be your sound button. Okay, this is how you play 2 sounds at once. So really what we're looking at is the number up here. So we're on sound 1 right now. So let's say I want to play Schoolyard Brawl. I'm going to volume it down just so it's not so loud. I'm going to select sound number 1. Okay, now sound number 1 is playing. You can see it green. It is highlighted. Now I'm going to hit the S button again. You'll see S2 comes up. Now I can actually go through and say, okay, I'm going to pick my secondary sound. I select it. Now it shows that you have both sounds playing at once. Okay, now at this point, I have sound 1 selected, but let's say I want to go back and change sound, or I have sound 2 selected, and I want to change sound 1. I'm simply going to push the S button again. It takes me back to sound 1, and I can actually turn this sound off. So now I only have sound 2 playing. I can pick a different sound, get it going. Simply pushing the S button again takes me back to the sound number 2, and I can stop it completely. Now, if you do have both sounds playing, and you want to kill the call completely, usually by hitting a preset, it's not going to totally erase. One of the 2 sounds is probably going to continue to play. But if I want to kill the call completely, All you got to do is push the power button one time, and it'll stop everything, kill the entire call, shut it down. Let's say you have a coyote coming in that you want to stop. When it comes to storage, this decoy will pop off the side, magnetize, it'll lock into the side here. Obviously this base will just pop out. You can store that in your seat or your backpack or whatever you have. And then the remote, once we turn it off, if you don't have a lanyard or pocket to put it in, it will lock in to the back of the E-Call, and you'll be ready to head to the next stand. And there you have it, the features of the Lucky Duck Super Revolt.